Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Weather Authority Live. I want to take another look at the severe weather risk area because this is what we're going to be talking about with this story that I worked on yesterday. So, the severe weather risk area that we show here at News 2 looks like this. We got the different colors: green, yellow, orange, red, and pink, indicating the levels of severity for the severe weather. Level 1 is the lowest, level 5 is the highest, and they have names: marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and high. And what you notice here on News 2, you won't notice much changes to our severe weather threats, and there really won't be many changes to what you see here. But they did make some changes to their website to make it a little bit easier to understand. They, as in the Storm Prediction Center, the folks that issue these risk areas. And they also made some additions to allow their forecast to be a little bit more precise. And that's all to do because forecasts have been getting more accurate as the computer data, AIs help the forecast get more accurate. So they're able to be a little bit more precise. And they've added some products to their website as well. And the additional products, we might start showing those a little bit more because they're pretty useful. And you'll see that here in the video that I did. So this is about 4.5 minutes. And it talks all about what the Storm Prediction Center changes to their severe weather risk maps mean. The Storm Prediction Center has made some changes and additions to their severe weather risk areas. Some of these changes are to improve messaging, and some of them are caused by the improved forecast accuracy. The first change is to how the severe weather risk areas look on their website.
But so there on the right, this is what the outlook looked like this past year on March 15th, 2025, almost a year ago now. And on this day, this is what that outlook will look like now here in the future. You've now obviously seen some of these graphics. Some of the highlights that we really wanted to do on here was de-emphasize the wording. We've heard from the social scientists, the wording can be confusing. People interpret it differently. Stick to the 1 to 5 scale.
So the risk areas didn't change, but they no longer have the words marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and high on the map, but have them in a legend in the corner with the levels 1 through 5 in bold. The biggest changes are with the levels of intensity and making them more precise.
But what if it looked like this? We could not just say EF2 plus tornadoes in this entire giant area. We can actually say, hey, in this area, we might have EF3 potential, and the potential for violent tornadoes, that's in this area there with the double hatching, the intensity level 3. That's when we're saying, hey, this is where we expect violent tornadoes to be.
For tornadoes, instead of one intensity level for strong tornadoes, there are now 3 levels that are more specific.
So on the scales, when we have no intensity area drawn, we're essentially saying mostly weak tornadoes, EF0, EF1. When we have that intensity level 1, now we're saying a reasonable max intensity EF2. The next step up, we're saying reasonable max intensity EF3, there at the next intensity level. Then at the top, the intensity level 3, we're saying violent tornadoes are on the table in these specific scenarios.
Here is an example of how the new intensity levels will look and why they will improve messaging to the public.
So I'm going to go through a couple examples here before I bring it home. So on the left, we've got the operational outlook from the SPC that has occurred during 2025. On the right will be the conditional intensity forecast. Keep in mind, this was produced in real time, about 5 to 10 minutes after the outlook was due. And so we'll have some reports on top of it as well to make the point. So back here on March 14th, probably the biggest tornado, or I mean, not probably, it was the biggest tornado day of the year. It really wasn't a terrible forecast from us operationally. We had a moderate risk, encompassed most of the stronger tornadoes. But I mean, ideally, this would have been a high risk in the end. I mean, the number of intense to violent tornadoes that occurred. In hindsight, if we had clairvoyance, of course, we would have loved to have this in a high risk. But it wasn't terrible forecast operationally. So I think that's what I want to focus on here is, okay, it's a pretty good forecast, but look at what conditional intensity does to improve it. Those 3 white tornadoes there on the right, these 3 tornadoes were in a 5% area. So they had no chance to have any hatching associated with them under the old operational outlooks. We captured 3 additional SIGTORs because we allowed our hatching to go outside the 10%. That's a great start. The other part, intensity level 2, we're aiming for those EF3 plus tornadoes. And that's what occurred. We had every single one of the EF3 plus tornadoes was in that intensity level 2, which is exactly what we want to see.
Along with there now being 3 intensity levels for tornadoes, there are also 3 for damaging winds and 2 intensity levels for damaging hail.
So now we're talking about basically what we think the reasonable max intensity is in an area. We highlight that when we have no area, that's mostly EF0 and EF1 tornadoes, mostly weak tornadoes. The intensity level 1, we're saying a reasonable max intensity of EF2. Intensity level 2, we're saying a reasonable max intensity EF3. And intensity level 3, we're saying violent tornadoes on the table. The wind, we're saying less than 74 mile per hour winds when there's no area highlighted. We're just talking about 74 plus mile per hour wind gusts with the intensity level 1. Intensity level 2, we're talking 85 mile per hour plus wind gusts with bow echoes and derechos possible. The intensity level 3, now we're talking about high-end derechos, usually ongoing, 95 plus mile per hour wind gusts. With the hail, less than 2-inch hail is expected when we have no area highlighted. Reasonable max intensity, we're talking about 2 inches with the intensity level 1. We're talking about 3.5 or softball size hail when we get to the intensity level 2.
So hopefully you were able to learn something cool there. And it's, in my opinion, it's just really great additional information that we, especially as meteorologists, get to use to make our forecast. So I'm happy the Storm Prediction Center made those changes. They look better. Again, additional information that we can feed to you guys as we are forecasting a severe weather threat like the one that we have this weekend. Again, be weather alert Saturday afternoon and early evening where we have that line of storms moving through.